Hello, dear listeners. Today, I want to discuss with you such a problem which has become quite relevant nowadays due to all incidents that we had this 2020 year, like economical crisis, COVID-19, fires in Australia, earthquake in Turkey, riots, uprisings in Belarus, and unfortunately vast of other occasions. I began to worry about ourselves and society's preparedness for natural disasters. Regrettably, a portion of these cataclysms can be not avoided or missed. Therefore, all of us must know what to do in these situations. I believe that the future consequences of natural disasters can be not so terrifying and their quantity can be reduced. Nowadays, we still have a lot of natural disasters. It happens because of countries' geographic location. For example, countries like Japan, the Philippines, Hawaii, Vanuatu, and etc. are prone to tsunamis, earthquakes, and storms because they are located at the junction of lithospheric plates. The movement of these plates causes earthquakes and tsunamis. For instance, on the 1st of November, big typhoon Goni appeared in the Philippines, and unfortunately, at least 10 people have died, and 19 million people are affected by Goni. Because in the Philippines there are up to 20 storms per year, the government is well prepared for each storm or tsunami, and consequences are as minimized as they can be. Almost everyone can be more or less affected by them because we are nature's guests in a sense. Therefore, we should find ways to cope with the consequences of cataclysms and try to decrease their quantity. The first solution for this issue is to predict all possible disasters with new technologies. For the beginning, science centers can develop programs for pre-disaster and post-disaster assessment. And maybe in the future, similar programs can outgrow into something more significant. For instance, special instruments with the help of computers can reduce the severity of earthquakes. Nevertheless, this solution is not the best because it cannot be relevant. Plus, in my opinion, an invasion into nature can ultimately lead to more unpleasant consequences. Another way how to cope with natural hazards is to reconsider our relationship with nature. All over the world, quantity of cataclysms increased in the last 25 years. It is connected to two reasons. The first reason is a process called globalization. In simple words, globalization means that all cultures, economics, languages began to share with each others, and it leads to the enrichment of all of them, but still it leads to conflicts, uncontrolled migration, discrimination, and pollution of nature. The second reason is our careless attitude to nature and desire to satisfy all materialistic needs that will always grow and then they will never end. Sadly, as history shows, people begin to change their approach to anything too late. Therefore, even when humanity sees the consequences of an industrial era, people still cannot change their attitude to the environment. If we decide to get rid of all of these things that harm nature in one moment, we will face probably the biggest crisis in history, which can lead to hunger, unemployment, a large number of crimes, and possibly even war. Consequently, this solution may not be as rapid as it is required. The third solution is to decrease as many natural disasters consequences as it is possible. Therefore, it will be better, safer, and more profitable to increase the level of societies and countries' preparedness for such disasters. Nowadays, a large number of countries are not prepared well. For instance, in Australia, they had a bushfire crisis at the beginning of the year, and it doesn't seem like they were prepared well for it. Unfortunately, the effects were too terrifying. 24 million burned hectares, 3 billion animals killed or displaced, hundreds of people died, thousands of homes were destroyed. To avoid such terrible accidents, the government and people must be ready and prepared for the worst. Luckily, we already have special centers and people who are monitoring all changes that happen in nature, which means that almost all hazards are predictable. Remember, disaster preparedness in the palm of your hand. In conclusion, it is known that the government of all countries need to be prepared and prepare their citizens for natural disaster. Natural disasters are very dangerous, and ignoring them can result in terrible things. Thank you for listening.